May kasabihan nga na where the road ends, insurgency begins. Ngunit dahil sa puspusang implementasyon ng mga programa at proyekto ng NTF-ELCAC, nagbunga ito ng unti-unting pag-unlad ng buhay sa mga liblib na lugar sa bansa. Bukod dito, nagresulta ito ng malawakang pag-surrender ng mga miyembro at supporters ng New People's Army matapos matugunan ang kanilang mga hinaing sa pamahalaan. Hindi rin ito magiging posible kung hindi dahil sa tulong ng mga sundalo na siyang pangunahing humaharap sa tungkuling ito. Nasaang direksyon na kaya ang Pilipinas sa pagsugpo ng insurhensiya.
The armed forces of the Philippines has always been very vocal about diminishing na ang forces ng CPP-NPA. How did it happen and why are you saying that?
So there is no new solution to this, but the framework of the counterinsurgency, if I may, was rooted in the Lambat-Bitag era of my days in 1990s. The framework then is the clear, hold, consolidate, and develop of the Lambat-Bitag shared by Victor Corpus in the book Silent War, because he's from the inside. So the clear, hold, consolidate, develop has been there, the Lambat-Bitag 1, 2, 3, then Plan Bantay-Laya, and so on and so forth. Then the only component that was missing in those days and today is the hold and develop, which calls for the whole of nation approach.
Okay.
Because we are combatants, we are armed, we are more on the clear and the holding, the clearing and the holding. But the consolidate and develop is not within the purview of the armed forces.
So do you mean, sir, that when you say we have neutralized our enemies, can you tell us the breakdown? Why are you saying neutralize? In what form? Did you kill them? Did you surrender? Or what?
The language or the vocabulary or glossary of the armed forces has so neutralized personalities of the CPP, NPA, and NDF is categorized into three. Those who were killed during armed engagement, those who were captured. It can be during engagement and they were alive, or through legal offensive with the law enforcement agencies, and those who surrendered, who availed of the comprehensive surrender program of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. So to break it down, 70%, as of today, the performance of 4th Infantry Division, 70% was neutralized through surrender, which they availed of the comprehensive amnesty program of the government. Meaning that the approach was right, that it is appealing to these people that they can come back to the folds of the law and join the mainstream of the society.
So when you say surrender, bigla na lang silang lumalapit sa inyo, there was no effort to really convince them?
There is a process to that. With the whole of nation approach, it is not really we telling them,
Okay.
but the whole of community. So one of the best practice of 4th Infantry Division is profiling the enemy. We profile these CNT leaders and these members. And in the profiling, we understood the dynamics of the family. We understand. So that's where engagement comes in. It can be through us or through the local government or those influencers in a society or in a barangay. So we let them understand, their family members, that there is such thing as a amnesty program. They can come back to the folds of the law. And there are benefits to that. So pinapaabot ito. Pinapaabot indirectly and directly, not directly from us, and through media and other medium of the government.
Has there any been more than this time that we've experienced mass surrender, continuous surrender than today?
We are, as far as I'm concerned, when I was here since February last year, we don't have really mass surrender, but it is a continuing and continuous surrender. Not by flickers, but it's substantial amount or number of surrenderers, especially when the government, other government agencies are involved through the local government, through the local chief executives. Dun talaga, because they are there, the barangay captains, the mayors. It's a very powerful tool na sila mismo magkwento, because their members, going back to the profiling dynamics, sila man ang ma-engage ng mga taong bayan at yung mga relatives nila.
Sinasabi ng militar, bumaba na yan sila kasi gutom, wala na makain, tapos naipit na sila sa gera. Why is this always the statements of the military? Ito ba talagang nangyayari? Or, anyway, this has always been the case.
I don't know with the narrative of other military or army or AFP units, but the narrative of the 4th Infantry Division is different. The military operation is just one of the tools to put pressure to the armed components. But there is a bigger component, which is the psychosocial component, wherein there is such thing as the sense of belongingness, the sense of family, and the sense of community. So, doon nila na-feel yan. Because the narrative is being presented not by the military. Kung gera lang, ibang kwento yon. And to tell you honestly, sa engagement, according to data, you can ask, mahirap magyabang, but we've been there. We've been up there for the past 2 years. So, on the average, in a week, we have 2 or 3 engagements in a week for the past 1 year.
When you say engagements?
Combat engagements.
Okay.
And one of our realizations is they never fight back. They're running away.
Why is that?
Wala nang kadre. Wala na yung ideologues. And the leaders are aged. Bakit? Kasi nanyo-neutralize sila, nag-surrender na yung iba na ano. So, and there are no more barangay affected in our AOR. Wala na. Zero. Meaning, the mass base is gone. So, they go back to their families. And that's where vulnerability is present.
Because of this development that slowly they're surrendering, are you no longer considering talking to the people still in the mountain?
Yeah, we're always open to that. Because
But government is saying we are for peace, but we are anti-peace talks now.
maybe if I remember it right, not at the national level, but there is an informal talks down there. That's why there are surrenders. That's why there are neutralized through surrenders. And that to us, that is peace talk. But not us talking directly. Directly, indirectly, but the narrative of coming back into the fold.
So we're still talking to
We're talking to them. It can be one voice, go back to the folds of the law,
Was
medium.
there an order from the AFP or from the DND that all units should no longer talk to the rest?
No, there was no, as far as I'm concerned, there was no specific order not to talk, but to engage them. But the focus military operation is so broad that there is a component of
So
civil
it depends
military.
upon the commander.
And it depends on the area.
Okay.
So the commander, our commander,
So in your evaluation,
As
do
far
we-
as we're concerned.
right now, there is still room for talks.
yeah, there's always room for, and the data shows the 70% because we were talking. We may not be talking directly, but indirectly the narrative and the storyline is being presented by other medium.
Does the AFP now have the best negotiators?
Not really. Maybe we are not best negotiator, but we learned our lesson to use other agency and another influencers. It can be through media. It can be to stakeholder engagement. We are good stakeholder engagers. I'm not keen to accept that we are the good negotiators because technically we don't negotiate, but we present what is the program of the government using other mediums, not really us.
Alias Caracal just surrendered, and her other 7 members in Bukidnon, in Katapusan, Surigao, there have been NPA members who surrendered. What is in store for them?
For the past 1 year, what happened? Okay. As I said earlier, nagyabang na nga ako na for the past 1 year, we engaged them in a week, twice or 3 times for almost 1 year. So they were running to the mountains. Pag Bukidnon ka, the Pantaron Range. Pagpunta mo sa kabila, that's Agusan. When you go here, that's Bukidnon. That's Pantaron. When you come up here, that's Claveria or Misamis Oriental. They're up there. Pag pumunta ka ng Caraga, it's in the Diwata Range.
Yes.
Pag punta mo rin sa Surigao Sur, pag bumunta ka rito, Surigao Norte, pag bumaba ka ng konti, Agusan Norte, pumunta sa kabila, Agusan Sur. So they were there. But they were engaged heavily there. tactically. And the supply and the people in the countryside where they have their masses before, wala na, neutralized na.
Why are you-
Gutom.
Yes, yes.
So they went down. So where are they now? They're somewhere near the populated areas.
Ngayon lang ba kayo nakaramdam na talagang focus kayo sa
No,
ginagawa niyo?
not really. We've been focused all the time. But let me go back to the framework of the CHCD. The clear hold consolidate, we've been there. But the hold and develop of the CHCD, we're not good at that.
Okay.
It requires a whole of government and a whole of nation approach. And the EO 70 provided that as an enabling law. And that it made it easier for us, it made it easier for the law enforcers, it made it easier for the government to go to the mountains and to the salaylayan and deliver them. Then with the EO 70 and the build, the road, as they always say, ang mahilig mag-coin si Jan Sobihana, that the road, where the road ends, insurgency begins.
Isyu One-on-One.